continue. Love. All right, perfect. Cool. As I was saying, right, this show is entitled Abyssinian Quran versus the Islamic Quran. It's a powerful show. Literally, I just came up with it like real quickly. I was just responding to a comment section with inside of another show that I did on another channel, right? And I was like, okay, cool. This is good content for a actual show. And it's even related to like my the post that I've created the YouTube thumbnail from. It kind of goes into it still. I saw you going, it's silent mode. Yeah. I was getting in for a minute, you know. Anyways, okay, cool. So, anyways, yeah, as I was saying, right, Abyssinian Quran is obviously the original Quran that was written underneath, the Abyssinian Empire in the mid to the late 6th century. So we're looking at roughly around 550 onwards to, you can say up to 600, 599 AD, basically. Yeah? During that time period, this is when that Quran is being constructed and created underneath the two superpowers of the time, which is Abraha, which is the king, and he's Abuna, or he's archbishop or bishop, and that was Muhammad, right? Between these two powers, they constructed a corpus. They constructed a new form of Christianity to spread across the Arabian Peninsula. And that was Muhammad's duty to go ahead and do it, right? So cool. Let me just, set the scene there. Obviously, now we have the Islamic Quran, which was the later compilation of the original Quran. And then obviously they've, how can I put it? When you see the translations today, you see that they don't even understand what's going on in the original text, right? They don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense. When you read it and you understand literature, you just know it doesn't make any sense, full stop, right? And they've created exegesis, which is, stories to go around it. So they make up fabulous story. Like you have the story of for example, the story of the elephant, where an elephant called Mahmud marched into Arabia, and everybody from the academic community know this is BS. Like it just doesn't make any sense. But it's become something that everybody thinks is something that happened, but it never did happen, right? So just laying the foundation for that. Cool. Now let's go back a little bit now. Yeah. So I'm going to just touch on it in terms of how I read the Quran, how scholars are starting to read the Quran, right? And the interesting results that come about via reading the Quran in such methodology. And I'm going to show you how, I swear to God, I deserve a PhD when it comes to Islamic studies, right? Like I'm even better than these scholars. Wallahi, tallahi, billahi. I swear to God I am, yeah. But anyways, I'll give a quick show you something. Like this is quite interesting because this is scholarly stuff now. Let me give you some scholarly work. Let's see if I can present my screen. I felt kind of gassed when I gave a response earlier on, and I was like, oh, this is kind of massive. Like this deserves a show. Okay, cool. So where do I want to go? Yeah, right here. Okay. So this present volume is the work of 25 scholars who participated in this 2012, 2013 Notre Dame Quran seminar. Let me just quickly show you the imagery of these people. This is coming from this book, actually. Let me just do this first. So this right here, yeah, all the good names, the Quran seminar commentary, Le Quran Seminar. Okay. And then there is everybody there. Perfect. Cool. Yeah, cool. So let's just see if you lot can see. Yeah, you lot can see it. Yeah. Okay. Where did this go? Where did it go? Where did it go? Where did it go for real? Like, what the hell? What the helly? What the helly? What the absolute helly? Just disappeared. Okay, cool. So close that down. Let's quickly go. So let's just quickly do this. This is called like the Quranist approach. Okay, the Quranist approach, not the Quranist as in Islamic Muslim Quranist, but just listen. It says the Quranist approach involves setting aside the divisions or classifications which might be imposed on the text of the Quran and predetermine possible readings of it. The point of the Quranist approach is to encounter the Quran itself and not the Quran as it has been categorized, classified, and explained by others. In this, the Quranist approach might be contrasted with the ways some studies in the field of Quranic studies are shaped by the assumptions of medieval Islamic exegesis or tafsirs. Okay. Now, scholars who follow the Quranist approach may end up with a conclusion that agrees with medieval Islamic exegetes, but they will have arrived there because of evidence in the Quran itself. Okay. So just take it as a piece of literature and read it as it is, instead of being influenced by tafsirs, exegesis, right? Cool. That's what it's basically saying there. Let's quickly continue. It is the Quranist approach that distinguishes this volume and not any other arguments about the origins or meaning of the text. In this work, scholars with different perspectives employ this approach, and they do so without compromising their scholarly or religious convictions, nor do they necessarily arrive at the same conclusions. Indeed, they often arrive at dramatically different interpretations of the same Quranic passages. The Quranist approach is thus not meant to support any one school of thought or to suggest any particular historical conclusions about the Quran. Instead, it is meant to encourage intellectual creativity by awakening scholars to the way in which one thinking about the Quran can be limited by certain assumptions, right? Okay, cool. It goes on to other stuff here, but let me just stop it right there. Okay, cool. So, like, that's the way I've been reading the Quran from like the inception, me personally, right? And that's why I was always baffled, like, how comes I see something completely different to everybody else? And I realized that most people, when they read the Quran, and this is the translator's faults, by the way, they read it, but they've got the, the parenthesis, they've got the little notes in it, they've got little stories that accomplish it and accompany it, and your lens is reading it via Islamic traditions versus reading it as a book by itself. That makes any sense. So cool. But the problem is, again, if you're reading the Quran and you're reading it via these translators, even the translations are a bit mod as well. So it's like, it's so tricky. Like when I see people having these conversations or debates, I'm like, for example, like a famous one, Surah 65, verse 4. I think that's it. And in there, it talks about, marrying women. Okay. But for some reason, right? And when I see Christians doing the same mistake, it says they're women, but then you interject into the text, oh, little girls. No, no, no. But like, what does it say? It says women. No, it means little girls. And I'm like, I understand when the Muslims, because obviously they believe in like underage, marriages and stuff like that, right? Via the Hadith literature. But you just read a text that clearly says women. You understand in our modern age today, we understand what a woman is. But yet, somehow, you're not allowing the text to speak for itself because you have an agenda against a group of people. But anyways, it's besides the point. Like, I'm not even going to go there, yeah. But just see, like, we're all, the way we approach certain texts is via a certain lens. For me, I'm like, I don't take on those lenses. I just read the text for itself. Cool. Anyways, so today somebody asked me a question, right? Because I brought it up in my previous historic origins of Islam, or the Abyssinian origins of Islam, right? And did that on Mel's channel, which is called Islamic Origins. I believe it's called Islamic Origins, right? So they've asked me a question, and I'm like, all right, cool. Let me break this down for you, right? Because what was it again? Something. Are you sure you're not referring to Surah 108, Kaltha, the abundance of good? Okay, that's what they asked me, and I said, no, I'm definitely talking about Surah 106. Let me quickly share my screen so I can break this down to you guys. Yeah, share screen. Surah 106. Said even let me put that in my notes section, right? Cool. So I say, yeah, like I'm just doing this real quickly. We can have a show on this properly. I'm at work, literally about to finish off. So let me just quickly do something for you guys, right? So Surah 106 is called Quraysh. I said, if we read Surah 106 Quraysh with the Sabaic understanding of Quraysh, QRS, as sheep or flock of sheep, it makes more sense. Okay. So again, like when you see difficult words in the Quran, that just doesn't make sense, like, because they've just created new words or new meanings. It's like you do realize that there are foreign vocabulary within inside of the Quran, i.e., there's Syriac inside of the Quran, Greek, Ethiopic, Gaze, Sabaic. All these things are actually inside of the Quran, right? It's actually in it itself. Scholars have admitted it, like Muslim scholars have admitted it. So it's nothing new. Anything that I'm doing right now is nothing new. So I'm like, okay, cool. Like I know this is a South Arabian text, right? So I wonder, like, if we read the word Quraysh in the Sabaic understanding of the word, what do we get? Sheep. Okay, cool. Let's just proceed from there if it makes more sense from just reading it from that. Because Quraysh, if anybody does know, is a made up tribe. It's a tribe that never existed. But, anyways, that's another day. That's another story for another day. And I don't want to go there. Let me just quickly go here. So, anyways, so we read it now. It says here, for the security of the flock of God. This is my own translation, right? Or the sheep of God, or the flock of God, or the herd of God, right? Their security during the winter and summer pilgrimage. Let them worship the Lord of this house, who has fed them against hunger and has secured them against fear. This chapter seems to be in conversation with Psalms 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down green pastures. He leadeth me beside still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the path of righteousness for his name's sakes. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. You preparest a table, but okay, a banquet for me, where all my enemies can see me. You welcome me as an honored guest and fill my cup to the brim. That's really, it's like your cup should be overflowing. Anyways, some translations do it a bit differently. Okay, surely goodness and mercy shall follow me for all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Cool. I was like, cool. Like, if we analyze this, we can kind of see that there is some form of intertextuality going on. They're actually having a conversation with each other, right? Quran 106 with Psalms 23. Obviously, Psalms 23 comes first. So therefore, the Quran is having a conversation with Psalms 23, in my humble opinion. Check it out for a minute and then let me know if I'm wrong, and let me know if you are convinced and you think, right, there's actually something in this. Okay. It says here, let's analyze the themes in each Quranic verse and cross-reference them with Psalms 23. All right, cool. The main theme here is sheep in 106.1, right? Oh, what's going on? What's going on? Okay. Yeah, is this... Anyways, I don't know what's going on. Yeah. So yeah, you got the flock of God, the sheep of God. Cool. Anyways, I'm not even going to keep going up and down. So then, obviously, in Psalm 23, you have the shepherd, right? You have the shepherd. In verse 2, you have two journeys. In the Psalms, God or the shepherd leads them twice, right? Over here on verse 3, you have the Lord of this house. Verse 6, house of the Lord. Verse 4, feed them and safe from fear. And then verses 4 and 5, over here in the Psalms, fear no evil. Again, we will have the fair conversation and prepare a table or a banquet, and we have, feeding them with food. Okay, cool. As you can see, there is a clear intertextuality taking place between Psalms and Quran. The shepherd, Quran, yeah. The shepherd or God is leading his flock on two journeys, keeping them safe from fear and preparing food for them whilst they dwell or worship in the house of the Lord. Pure. So we can see that, right? I don't know. Let me know. What's your thoughts? Do you see the intertextuality taking place with this? Is very easy, like very easy, because it's 4 lines for chapter 106 of the Quran, the Quraysh, and there is 6 lines in Psalms, right? So you can kind of go through that easily. That's like 10 lines, 10 verses that you have to read in total. And then can you see the intertextuality by simply changing, the word here, Quraysh, because it's not translated even. It's just like the tribe Quraysh, right? If we just change that to the South Arabic word meaning sheep or flock of sheep or herd, right? We can see that it flows a bit better. And we can see that it is actually in alignment with the Psalms. Like, I don't know. I don't know. You let me know, because to me, that's pretty much simple, clear cut to see. But let's see what you guys have to say on this. Anybody want to say something? Let me know. Let me know. I am literally going to be going soon, though. So, love if you could just do this. Right. Here is the link. Yeah, here is the link. If you wanted to come in and say something or just tap something, let me know what you're saying. Yeah. Do-do-do, and do-do-do. Cool. So scandalous. And then, yeah, when we have time, yeah, when we actually have time, I would love, yeah, for you guys to actually check out this particular book right here, right? No, sorry, article, right? I'm sure I've presented. No, I haven't really presented it. Okay, it's called here the population size of Muhammad's Mecca and the creation of the Quraysh. Okay, so in here you kind of realize that yeah, yeah, all that stuff is just made up, and there is just mathematical and other academic rigor that's been put through to kind of show that it's been made up. And yeah, the word Quraysh, they didn't even know what it meant themselves. Okay. So it's a very, 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 very interesting read. Yeah. I would love for you guys to download it if you can. I've shown you the whole thing. I don't need to baby you any further. You guys can literally go onto the screen, look where it was, and find it, and yeah, and then basically join it. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. Because I wanted to show you that they themselves don't even know what the word Quraysh meant. I thought it was here somewhere. Where are we? Okay. Quite what Quraysh meant. There is. Some of you don't want to read it though, because it's 28 pages. So, but hopefully you don't do. Quite what Quraysh meant at the time of the tribe's formation, or even during the life of Muhammad, is unknowable. See that they don't even know what the word Quraysh meant. Okay. Anyways, our definition comes from the later periods where historians and genealogists who clearly struggled to explain where the word came from, although they were largely adamant that there was no founder figure called Quraysh in the patrilineal. An alternative definition proposed it meant little shark, which was taken as meaning that the tribe was a small predator that menaced a larger fish. Anyways, Retzo discusses these issues in a footnote alongside the rather uh, perspicuous, no, perspicuous? Yeah, it must be. Perspicuous comments that there are reasons to suspect that the Quraysh, in fact, was some kind of association that originally was not based on claims of common kinship and genealogy. As far as it goes. Okay, cool. So you can see that they don't know what the word Quraysh means, right? So if anybody wants to say, oh, you can't do that. All right, cool. You do realize they themselves don't know what the term means, right? They even try to create later on, try to create a word for it, and everybody knows they don't know what it means. Okay, I'm simply saying I know that the earliest Qurans, right, are found in the 6th century, before Muhammad was even the Muhammad of Islam was even said to be born, said to even receive revelation, because he received revelations in 610 supposedly, right? Before he even received revelations, we have, yeah, manuscripts, fragments of the Quran that goes back to 550 to 599, right? During that 6th century, we have that pre-Quranic Qurans, right? Right? And that's found in Abraha's capital city, Sana'a, in his cathedral, right? In Sana'a, that was later converted into a mosque. Cool. So I'm just simply reading the Quran as if this was Abraha's Quran, Muhammad of Abyssinian Empire's Quran, because it's found this providence where it's found is in their capital city. It's talking about Christian literature. Why are we not reading it like that? I don't know. I don't know why people are not reading it like that. Full stop. Anyways, but we can clearly see if you now use the Sabaic understanding of Quraysh, which is sheep, it makes more sense. And we can see it's in conversation with the Psalms. Like the rest of the inscriptions that's found in late Sabaic, it's all in conversation. It's all like a reformulation, or it's an allusion to, or it's the subtext is the Psalms. And that's going to be a late one of these days. I'm hoping one of these days, yeah, inshallah, if I ever got funding, yeah, if I ever got funding in this world, I will give you guys some sick breakdowns, because then we'll start going into the education system, the pedagogy of Abyssinian slash Ethiopian priests. And before they even become a priest, you have to go through a Debetra training. And you will see, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Actually, should I do that? Nah, let's not even do that. That's too much. That's too much for the people. Cool. Let me stop this screen sharing. Cool. Peace. Quraysh from Karu Quraysh. Shouldn't say Harmony's Egyptian stone, bro. All right, from the origin. Yeah, cool. So, yeah, that was a little quick one for you guys. Yeah, let me know your thoughts on that because I thought that was a, for me. I'm like, yo, that's kind of hard. Still, that's kind of hard, right? Because I got a few of them. I got a few of them to actually show you the different understandings. But anyways, let me know if you guys want to jump in. The link has been shared. I am literally going now because that was me just doing something real quickly because yeah. Let me know if you enjoyed it though. If you did enjoy it, give us a like. Okay, give us a thumbs up, big thumbs up. And then afterwards, hopefully, we can engage in this in the comment section and we can have some good conversations on it. But yeah, family tree. I'm signing out. Peace and love, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Oh man. Young Cali, baby. Yeah.